Look at the weather.
It's beautiful here.
Non-stop rain.
Oh, man, it is a blazer out there.
It's cold and it's shivery.
It is cold.
Really coming down here.
I really enjoy your weather reports.
From the All Indiana Podcast Network, we're talking weather in a whole new way. From historical events to what's coming up, plus weather news, science, safety, fun facts, and more.
I like where this is going.
This is Weather Weekly. Weather Weekly with Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey.
Episode 205 of Weather Weekly. Good to be with you here as we look ahead to Thanksgiving week. It is already time for the busy holiday season. Man, ramping up. Coming off of our first accumulating snow of the year last week. Just over 3 inches of snowfall on Thursday across much of the metro area. There are some areas that picked up 4 to 4.5 inches north of Indianapolis. One of the snowier single-day November days that we've had in a long time. And I think the action continues this week. So if you do have some travel plans, we do have a lot to talk about as we gear up for potentially an active holiday and certainly turning colder as well. So we'll break it all down. That is coming up for the week ahead, November 25th, Thanksgiving week 2024. That's next on Weather Weekly. It is episode 205. Good to be with you here, Weather Weekly, as we look ahead to the week ahead, November 25th, 2024. And this is Thanksgiving week. So let's get started. We'll begin with the 25th. That is Monday. I do think that is going to be a day of change after a mild finish to this past weekend, right? Ended up being pretty nice. Mix of sun and clouds, temperatures returning close to 50 degrees in a lot of the state. All right. So now we go into this Monday, and you're going to have rain developing pretty quickly already by the morning hours. I don't think it's super heavy. This is a cold front that is going to be passing by. We will probably only get about 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch of rainfall out of the system. So again, that's not a real heavy or slow moving system. This is going to be pretty fast paced. And I do think the temperatures are going to be pretty mild out ahead of the front, even though I think we'll see a lot of cloud cover. So highs will be in the mid 50s for Monday. You'll have that rain chance really kind of starting to ramp up in the morning, but becomes a bit more widespread for the afternoon. I do think the rain chances will quickly diminish by the evening, and by the overnight hours, we will, I think, probably dry out. Now, we're going to be turning sharply colder as we go into your Tuesday morning, rather. Overnight lows will be in the upper 20s and lower 30s to start off your Tuesday. So let's head into Tuesday. Tuesday should be a quieter day, but significantly cooler with decreasing clouds. You'll have some low-level stratus early. That will erode by midday. I've got highs in the upper 30s to the north, lower 40s elsewhere across central Indiana. All right, and it should be dry as we go into your Tuesday, which may end up being kind of the last day of work, certainly for school, coming up on this holiday week. Wednesday, if you do have some travel plans, this is something you need to be aware of. Or if you have some loved ones coming into town, we've got a potential for a more robust system. Now, again, I want you to keep in mind where we record this podcast here very early in the week. So a lot changes. And especially in this situation, because I'm going to talk about 2 different scenarios, because that's where the models are taking us right now. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of consistency in exactly what's going to play out for Wednesday into Thursday, for the travel day and for the holiday itself, okay? So there are 2 possible scenarios. You do have a stronger system that would track near or in the southern portions of the Midwest, south of Indiana, which would bring us a really good chance for rain first on Wednesday. And then kind of on the back end of that system, we cool it down that we'll flip the switch to a little bit of snow with potential of some accumulations. I'm not seeing anything real significant yet, but definitely could flip that switch to accumulations. There is another model that we look at that has the system a bit weaker and much farther south for Wednesday into Thursday, and that would leave us completely dry. Now, I will say this, just as a meteorologist, and it's my job to kind of dissect, the differences, the trends, how models have been handling things thus far. I lean more toward the system, the stronger system that could bring rain and then changing over to snow. Okay. It may be a little bit of a hybrid of both. It may be a weaker system, but it does track close enough that it brings that rain potential. But that's just kind of where I lean right now, at least early on into the week from some of the data that we try to compile together. Okay. So my advice would be just plan accordingly. And look, I don't think this is going to be a system that would make travel really, really difficult in terms of snowfall accumulation. As I see it right now. Now, could that change? Sure, if the cold air kind of rushes in a little more quickly. But I'm not seeing any new projections that are telling me that we're going to see heavy snowfall accumulations in the Midwest. All right. So, but with that said, very wet weather Wednesday afternoon, as early as Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday night, Wednesday overnight, and potentially Thursday morning. So any of those travel scenario times for you, just keep that in mind. It's still not fun to travel when you're in steady rain. So, and it might get a little bit gusty as well. All right. So that's where we're at right now. If things change, of course, we will jump in. If I think this is going to be a more significant system, as we go into the middle of the week, we'll do a special podcast, hopefully maybe as early as Tuesday, to give you a heads up for those of you that are traveling or have loved ones coming in to central Indiana. All right. I know I spent a lot of time on that. I try to keep this podcast short, but I do know this is, a unique circumstance as we gear up for the holiday. So let's get back to the numbers here. Wednesday, again, cloudy, rain chances is what I'm going to put in the forecast now for the second half of the day. Flipping to the switch potentially to snow. Highs will be into the low 40s and overnight lows into the lower 30s. Again, with that snow chance. All right. Thanksgiving Day, bit of a wintry mix potentially for the first half of the day. Chilly as well. Numbers around 40. Gusts around 20 miles per hour. So I don't think it's going to be awful here. All right. And then Thanksgiving night, precipitation should be ending. It is going to be significantly colder. Lows into the mid-20s. Keep that in mind if you are a overnight shopper. You get up at midnight Friday morning for Black Friday. I do think Friday is going to be dry. But one thing that we are certain of, I know we spent a lot of time on the uncertainty of Wednesday into Thursday. We feel very confident that we're going to get a big shot of cold Canadian air settling in for Friday and into the weekend. So we mentioned that Friday, early morning, if you're going out Black Friday shopping, numbers will be in the mid-20s. I only have highs around 30 for Friday. Friday overnight lows leading into Saturday will fall into the teens, so that will be the coldest of the season. That will be a whole day. You're talking 24 hours plus of below freezing temperatures. We haven't had that yet this year. Saturday, I don't know if we make it out of the 20s. And just looking ahead to Sunday, I think that's probably going to be the same as well. So overnight lows, both weekend nights into the teens, 20s on tap. That would take us into, that would take us into December, right? Man, we are just flying. Yeah, next Sunday into December 1st. I think we're going to open up that new work week on the 2nd, probably into the 20s. Still below average for the 3rd and the 4th. And I'll spend a little bit more time on this, but just to kind of talk about it since I'm already there, that the extended over the next couple of weeks looks to be running pretty cold as well. So we've definitely kind of flipped that script quite a bit. Okay. So hopefully that clarifies some things for you. Again, the most concerning part of this forecast obviously will be Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday night, and then heading into Thursday morning with rain and snow chances for the holiday coming up. We will keep you updated, of course, here on the podcast and always online at wishtv.com/weather. We'll keep you updated on any significant changes. All right, we'll kind of wrap up the podcast here. Coming up next on Weather Weekly. All right, let's look at some climate stats here for the, I guess this will be unless we do a special podcast this week, this is the last time we'll talk until December. We'll give you an update of the entire month of November. But for the month, precip, you know what? We're not too bad. We've gotten a little bit of action here the last couple of weeks, 3.41 inches. We are actually on the plus side of almost 3/4 of an inch. Last year, that was the exact amount we had, 3/4 of an inch. So we're doing much better this year, and we're making up for a little bit of lost time. But again, this is the hole we dug ourselves into. Since September 1st, we're at 5.23. The normal value should be just over 9 inches. We're down 3.5 inches. So yeah, it was pretty rough. We're still in better shape than we were last year. This time we were at 4.80. For the month, snowfall 3.2. We are actually well above the November average, 2.7. We usually average around 1/2 inch. Last year, we had not seen snow. And again, we didn't get our first accumulating snow until New Year's Eve of last year. So there you go. 8 to 14 day outlook. I already kind of gave you a little bit of a hint of where we're heading. This would be for the week of December 1st through the 7th. It's still a strong signal for below average temperatures and below average precipitation in that time frame. However, I will say, just kind of perusing through the ensembles, there are some hints here that we may start to see a bit of a pattern change following that first week of December. I think that first week of December may run real chilly, but beyond that, there is potentially some hints of maybe a pattern flip, okay? So taking us to the middle of the month where we may warm it up. I don't know if we'll go warmer than average, but we're going to be well below average in terms of temperatures. We may be able to kind of modify those numbers just a little bit heading into the middle of the month. We'll see if that holds true or not. All right. Thank you so much for checking out this week's podcast. I know it was kind of a longer one than normal, but we had some special circumstances with it being the busy holiday. You can always shoot me any questions or comments via email, marcus.bailey@wishtv.com. You can also find me on social media, Marcus Bailey Weather on Facebook and on X and Instagram. It's @Marcus Bailey. So check me out there. Of course, you can get our forecast 24 hours a day on our Storm Track 8 weather app. And of course, on our website, wishtv.com/weather. And you can get my forecast Monday through Friday. And it'll actually be Monday through Wednesday this week. But Monday through Friday most weeks. On the TV side, locally in central Indiana on Wish TV, Channel 8 locally. That is from 4 a.m. to 10 a.m. weekdays. Hope to see you there. And while you're here, make sure to check out all the other great podcasts, all part of the All Indiana Podcast Network. Have a wonderful week. We will talk to you soon. And
Discover more from Storm Track 8 Weather and Wish TV. Online at wishtv.com and when you follow Wish TV on Facebook. Plus, be sure to check out more great podcasts from the All Indiana Podcast Network now at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.